UMass geoscientist Will Daniels has recently returned from a 45-day mission for NASA. Daniels lived on a fictional asteroid with 3 others conducting a range of tasks and experiments meant to help NASA scientists understand how astronauts might someday move from lower Earth orbit to deep space explorations. Okay, so you have a lot of questions, right? First, I asked Daniels what a day in the life was like.
Our days in the pod were busy. We would wake up at 7 o'clock to a song being blasted over the loudspeakers, and we'd spend a whole day doing science. And some of that science was about measuring our body and our minds, and some of the science was us doing experiments.
And so the song that was blasted, there was a playlist, right, that you all contributed to NASA, so it was on rotation as a different way to sort of keep each of your tastes and interests engaged?
Yeah, and my understanding is that they do the same thing on the International Space Station, where the astronauts choose songs to wake up to. And so it was fun when one of the songs we picked came over, and it would rotate through the different crew members' songs.
Good way to get to know people, too.
Yeah.
Here you are, you're on this pod. It's not that big. You're about 6'3". So how did you navigate being in this 3-story space with 3 other people?
Yeah, there was not a lot of room to escape one another, or even to kind of manipulate our bodies around the pod without bumping into each other. But after the first couple days, I'd say we got pretty comfortable, and the workflow in the pod became smooth. I did bump my head a couple times, but they put foam on all the door jambs, so it wasn't a big deal.
And so the purpose of this 45-day mission, NASA has been slowly increasing the number of days. You're the 4th group of people, I believe, to go and do this recently. And the idea is to eventually perhaps travel to Mars, which would take about 1.5 years. Mm-hmm. And you're looking at a variety of different things that they were monitoring and keeping track of. For you, isolation is one of the things that I think about. You know, you're in there, you don't have access to your family that often. What was it like to be that isolated?
Yeah, so in my life, I've actually had a lot of experiences that are kind of similar to this. I've been on a research ship in Antarctica and spent time in remote Alaska, kind of in small groups, very remote, cut off from the world. In those cases, I wasn't so confined. But it's kind of I don't know, I think that you kind of get used to it. For me, there's the first week or 2 during our experience in Hera. It took a lot of figuring out what the norms for the group would be in this confined space. Do we eat our meals together, or do we kind of do we declare when we want some alone time? And that took some figuring out. But after about 2 weeks, everything was very comfortable in the hab.
To your point about meals, I think I read in Scientific American that you had 3 meals a day, which didn't really surprise me. But you took an hour each day for those meals. Was that something that NASA wanted you to make sure that you took, or was that something that you negotiated in the group saying, look, I need this hour, this is mine?
No, so our experiment was everything was very tightly controlled. Our whole day was scheduled, and I don't know if it was an OSHA regulation or what, but we were given 1 hour for meals, which was nice because our days were so full of work activities that we needed downtime to kind of rest and just think about the plan for the rest of the day. So those meals were nice.
Because you spend 5 hours a day sleeping, so as you do that math, 3 hours a day, so you're working about 16 hours, 45 days straight?
Yeah.
So how did you feel at the end of those 45 days? I imagine, I'm assuming something here, that you don't work 16-hour days, 45 days straight here, back in the actual Earth environment, the non-simulated Earth environment.
Yeah, it was tiring, and when we would go to bed at 2 a.m., it was bedtime, I'd fall asleep pretty dang fast because we were pretty wiped out. But overall, I think our crew did really good with the sleep deprivation. And at the essence of the study, it is a sleep study. We were limited to 5 hours most nights, and they regulated when the lights would come on and the intensity of the lights. They would shift from blue to red kind of in the evening. And they're really trying to optimize or figure out kind of a fatigue model for us. But by the end of the mission, yeah, we were pretty tired.
Because you're on this fictional asteroid, Geographos, but you're actually there on the ground in NASA. Did you have to mentally convince yourself that you were on the asteroid, or is that sort of unimportant to what you were doing?
No, that's a good question, and they asked us at the end during our debriefings, like how realistic did it feel? And it would kind of come and go. For me, I kind of got into the simulation pretty easily. Like I felt we were away from Earth. I felt like we were actually doing these scientific protocols that were part of a space mission. Occasionally there would be things that would interrupt that feeling.
Like what?
So for example, once a week we would have to get our blood drawn. And so there would be kind of a pseudo interaction with the outside world where a phlebotomist would come in. We'd draw a black curtain and stick our arm through the curtain. And we would never speak to or see the phlebotomist, but we could feel them drawing our blood on the other side of the curtain. So they did their best to minimize our contact with the outside world. But there was still kind of some connection there.
But you did also, as I understand it, activities where you were grabbing things with a hook. There was a simulated blast off and landing too,
Yeah,
right?
so there were a lot of simulations, a lot of flight simulations, and those were one of my favorite things. We would have two controllers, we'd be manipulating the robotic arm to grapple things. We had another simulation where we were driving a pod on the surface of Geographos. And the simulations, they took a lot of time, and they were pretty challenging, I think. Other simulations we had were regarding medical scenarios, so pretending someone had a stroke or a broken arm or something.
Someone on the team there.
Yeah, and so we were given simulations like that, or the spacecraft sprung a leak and we need to find it and patch it. So there were other kinds of simulations that we were dealing with all the time that helped us kind of get into the mindset that we are on this spacecraft.
And so those are some of there were some sort of mental and physiological tests that they were sprinkling throughout your day that you would never know about, right?
Yeah.
And those are among those?
Yeah.
So for you, though, you talk about using the grappling hook or steering, things like this. Did you have to train before you went and spent 45 days in this pod?
Yeah, we had about 2 weeks in Houston to train before we went into the pod. And during that time, we learned all the protocols. We learned how to fly the flight simulation, how to use the radio communications. And it was an intensive 2 weeks. There was a lot to learn during that time period.
Because your background is in geological sciences, that's what you're doing right now at UMass. Why did you initially want to get involved in the project? You volunteer essentially, even though you aren't paid.
Yeah, so I'm a big proponent of science across the board. And I'm an environmental scientist. I study climate change and ecosystem changes, but I've always had an interest in space science as well. And I thought this would be a really fun and exciting way to kind of contribute to human space exploration. So that's why I wanted to get into this program.
For you, though, going in, what were your expectations versus the reality of what you experienced those 45 days? You've been back about a month.
Yeah. I didn't really know what to expect. I think among the 4 crew members, I had the least experience with space analogs or space flight. And so for me, pretty much everything was a learning experience. I think that the most exciting parts of the mission were takeoff and landing. A lot of the in-between was kind of more routine.
45 days in this pod. A trip to Mars is estimated to take a year and a half. Do you think that people will be able to sustain that long?
Oh yeah, I think so. I think for me personally, I've missed a lot of things back on Earth, and I'm not sure I would want to commit to that. But hopefully these analogs, these experiments that we do on Earth, really help make it more comfortable and safe and enjoyable for them. And I think people will be able to do that successfully.